They may have left you on the floor laughing or on the edge of your seat in suspense, but there is more to the Jumanji movies than meets the eye. When a sequel to the original 1995 Jumanji movie was announced, fans were nervous with the Robin Williams movie sacred among many, but the sequel, Welcome to the Jungle, was a big success. Packed full of humor, action, heart, Kevin Hart, and of course, The Rock's eyebrows, with it never taking itself too seriously. The chemistry with its on-screen stars, in particular Dwayne Johnson and Kevin Hart, shone through, and the movie was such a huge hit that it in turn generated a sequel. While the film has delighted fans with its on-screen gags and big action set pieces, there are a few subtle Easter eggs that you might have missed. We'll take a look at some of the best Easter eggs and references scattered throughout the movies, from parodying other movies, references to their star's previous life, and of course, Easter eggs of the original movie. These are some of the best hidden references in the world of Jumanji. Get ready to enter the jungle. While the sequel movies have been predominantly their own thing, there was one cameo in the latest Jumanji movie, Next Level, that tied up a loose end from the original film. That, of course, is the return of Aunt Nora. For all of those who might have forgotten, Aunt Nora, played by Broadway veteran Bebe Neuwirth, is the aunt of Judy, played by Kirsten Dunst, and Peter, played by Bradley Pierce, who takes in the kids after the death of their parents in the original movie. But since the events of the 1995 movie and their deaths were reversed by Alan, played by comedy legend Robin Williams, it left the fate of Aunt Nora unresolved. The last time we saw the character, she was being tricked into a closet, and that seemed like that was it for her. But towards the end of Next Level, this hanging mystery is finally wrapped up when Grandpa Eddie, played by Danny DeVito, reveals that Nora is an old friend of his, with her taking ownership of his and Milo's breakfast cafe and renaming it Nora's. Very original. This is actually one of the only direct references to the original movie, but could this lead to further cameos in the future? Time will tell.
I'll be right back.
The world mourned the loss of Robin Williams after his tragic death in 2014, with the character playing a host of iconic characters, such as Aladdin's Genie and Patch Adams, to name a few. Of course, his role in Jumanji was no different, with his portrayal of Alan being complex with emotional guilt and comedic brilliance shining through in equal measure. Welcome to the Jungle pays homage to Robin Williams and his character in many ways, with them showing the audience where Alan was trapped for 26 years when they were taken to the house he built. This scene finally gives fans an insight into his life when he was stuck in the game. It's a fleeting moment, but a nice touch from the studio to pay homage to a true on-screen gem. Another Easter egg that pays tribute to Robin Williams as Alan is the amount of elephant references we see in Welcome to the Jungle. The elephant was Alan's game piece in the original movie, and we see scattered references throughout. There is an elephant statue that marks the path to the end of the game. An elephant serves as the only virtually real animal that ends up helping the crew, showing that Alan is still a close ally, and they even find the original elephant token with handwritten notes that give the gang a series of clues. Ostriches also hold important little clues and hints, with a herd of ostriches. Some actually say it could be a flock of ostriches, as they are birds, while others say they should be called a pride, but this is heavily disputed in amongst the science community. Oh, yeah, wait, getting off topic here. Where was I again? Oh yeah, ostriches. As the crew arrive in the sand dunes, they're attacked by a herd, flock, pride thingy of villainous ostriches. Not a sentence that I thought I'd ever say. And ostriches make a comeback later on in the movie in an ominous and foreboding way, but more on that later because we'd like to keep you in suspense. In the meantime, did you know that a group of rabbits is called a fluffle? Well, I thought that was kind of fun. Speaking of groups of animals, another Easter egg in Next Level that relates to the original 1995 movie is through the horde of mandrills, which is actually called a troop. Sorry, last time I do this, I swear. Although, while other Easter eggs serve as a nice little nod to the original movie, this one is more of a cheeky jab to its technical limitations. VFX may look gloriously real today, even CGI animals, something which is showcased in Jon Favreau's Lion King movie, but 90s VFX wasn't quite on the same level as we have today, and while they may have looked good at the time, they look extremely outdated and comical now, and Jumanji is no different. VFX was in its infancy in the 90s, and because of this, the original movie opted to predominantly use practical effects, unlike the sequel movies which are mostly VFX. One instance the original movie used VFX though was with the riotous monkeys that wreaked havoc, even taking control of police vehicles, and let's face it, they don't quite compare to modern day effects. The mandrills were added in to take a cheeky jab at the original monkeys, as well as fully showing how far CG has come.
What do you think those monkeys are going to do to the ecosystem around here?
Bad CGI isn't the only reference the mandrill attack makes though. As the troop of mandrills close in on Eddie and Milo in a sky-high chase sequence performed on rickety rope bridges, Eddie, in the rock form, pulls out his machete and cuts down one of the rope bridges in order to slow down the ensuing mandrills. Now, to fellow movie buffs, this scene may have felt somewhat familiar, and you probably feel like you've seen it before, and that's because you have. This scene is a homage to the ending of Temple of Doom, where Indiana Jones is cornered on a rope bridge before hacking it down with a machete. It is somewhat fitting, as The Rock's character of Bravestone is a direct homage to the character of Indy, a heroic, adventurous archaeologist who obviously doesn't miss the gym. Jumanji makes several calls to iconic cinema, and it acts as a great little nod to the Indy franchise as well as paying homage to Bravestone's roots. Temple of Doom isn't the only classic film that's referenced in Next Level. Bravestone and Mouse's relationship is similar to the Riggs and Murtaugh relationship in the Lethal Weapon series, which is fitting as Danny Glover, who played Murtaugh in Lethal Weapon, plays Milo, who is in Mouse Avatar form in the movie. But a direct parody is made to one of the most iconic scenes ever, the close call scene in Mission Impossible. The Mission Impossible scene is so homaged that it's hard to find an action movie that doesn't have a reference to it. And of course, Next Level is no different. In Next Level, new introduction Ming Fleetfoot, played by Awkwafina, is a thief and cat burglar, and in one scene we see her lowered into a circular room as she steals a jewel. Sound familiar? But Ming doesn't only pay homage to Mission Impossible, but inhibits the video game character tropes of Yuffie Kasaragi of the Final Fantasy games, and Kasumi Goto of Mass Effect. But the retrieval of the jewel is easily the more recognizable send-up. Going back to the beginning, Welcome to the Jungle has several links to the original movie. First and foremost, the film starts off in the same town of Brantford in New Hampshire. In fact, Alex's dad finds the game from the original movie on the same beach that the game is left at the end of the original movie. In the 1995 film, we see the game half buried on the beach where two French-speaking girls hear the familiar, ominous drum beating that is enough to scare the living daylights out of you, and this event ties the two together. It's like having a board game half buried on a public beach is somehow easy to find. Some may say super easy, barely an inconvenience. Don't take me to court, Ryan.
You don't even know what afraid is.
We've already mentioned the appearance of the elephant figure, the piece that Alan used, as a sculpture at the end of Welcome to the Jungle, but that wasn't the only piece to appear in statue form. As the gang come to the end of their journey, we see creepy statues that replicate the different animal figures from the Jumanji board game. Director Jake Kasdan, son of Empire Strikes Back co-writer Lawrence Kasdan, said in an interview that the statues by the temple at the end of the movie were there to represent scarier versions of the board game pieces, meaning although gameplay may have upgraded to in-game avatars, that doesn't mean the original figures aren't still there. It's a nice little nod back to the original movie, as well as expanding the mythology of the world in statue form. Thankfully, those statues remained stationary, and were not some other creepy horde of animals waiting to kill them, because that would have been just unfair at that point. If you haven't heard of Dwayne Johnson, you must be living under a rock. Huh? Yeah, get that. Okay, I'll leave now. Okay, I'm back. Dad jokes aside, for the last decade, Dwayne Johnson has become a household name, with his giant muscles and smooth charm easily able to lead a full feature-length movie. While we all may know him as a wrestler turned actor, you may not know, or perhaps forgotten, that he had a brief career in another sport, football. He was initially a defensive tackle for the University of Miami, even making it on the Miami Hurricanes national championship team, but his time with them was cut short due to successive injuries. He did get a second chance at a football career in the CFL with the Calgary Stampeders, but his time there again was cut short until he made his way over to wrestling and became the superstar we know today. However, the filmmakers at Next Level decided to add a little Easter egg to Johnson's earlier life and his time in football. In Welcome to the Jungle, Fridge is a football player who is struggling to stay on the team due to his poor grades. but that doesn't seem to be an issue in Next Level, with him now playing for a college team just like Dwayne Johnson. In Next Level, we see him with a number 94 necklace, which, as you might have guessed, was Johnson's former number. It also happens to be the 94th reason we love The Rock, but that's just a subject for another day. One of the biggest differences between the sequel movies is that both take place in the world of Jumanji through a virtual world. This is opposed to the original movie, which takes place in the real world. However, we did get a brief hint that all will change in the next movie. In a mid-credit scene, we see a police officer, played by New Girl's Lamorne Morris, investigating a disturbance in Spencer's basement where he finds the ruined Jumanji console. Now, while that in itself doesn't say much, what it cuts to does, with one of the ostriches in the game, see, I told you we'd be coming back to them, now roaming around freely outside the now named Nora's Cafe, before being followed by a herd, flock, thingy of other ostriches. This quite clearly suggests that the tables have now turned, and like the original movie, the action will now take place in the real world. As we questioned earlier, does this mean that there will be more connections to the original movie, and we'll be seeing other cameos from the first film? We shall see, but it is safe to say that the main crew are not out of the jungle just yet.
What is this game?
What was your favorite Easter egg? What's your favorite Jumanji moment?